Welcome to Face, the program
that frontally discusses
political and social issues in Nigeria. The weekly program brought to you on Wednesday by 6 p.m. Nigerian time, anchored by Prince Ewemade Concourse, powered by GCSDN.
Join us.
Good evening to all our wonderful viewers all over the world, and welcome to Face program. This is the program where we frontally discuss political and social issues in Nigeria. This weekly program is brought to you every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Nigerian time, anchored by my humble self, Prince Ewemade Concourse. Today's discussion is patriotism versus stomach infrastructure. Which way Nigeria? We are going to be joined in the studio by two of our compatriots. First, let me just read a summary of what the program is all about today. Many Nigerians are led by stomach infrastructure, while some are led by patriotism. Patriotism will always outweigh stomach infrastructure at the end. Kudos to people like Omoyele Sowore, Femi Falana, and a host of others. I will appoint Minister of Stomach Infrastructure if elected President, former Governor of Ekiti State, Fayos Ayodele, 29th April 2022 at the PDP State Secretariat. Stomach infrastructure has become a weapon against the poor by the rich elite. They have weaponized this instrument of injustice against the poor masses of Nigeria. Nigeria have been relegated by their rulers. The only language they understand now is stomach infrastructure. If Nigeria must attain its potentials, we must move away from this syndrome created by the elite against the masses. I'm going to bring our panelists to the studio now so we can have a discussion for tonight's program. Dr. Frederick Amoyema, you are welcome to the studio, sir.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
How are you today?
Fine, thank you.
I think we just have you for now. We're going to go ahead with the program while we wait on the other panelists as well to join us on this program so we can discuss the stomach infrastructure and the patriotism, which way Nigeria. What do you think about the stomach infrastructure and patriotism, versus patriotism in Nigeria? The way the political elite have weaponized the stomach infrastructure against the poor masses, that the only language that they understand now is stomach infrastructure. Without stomach infrastructure, a lot of them think they will suffer, which is not true. So my question to you today is, why is the political space in Nigeria dominated by sorry, we almost lost you in transmission there. I was going to ask you, why is the political space of Nigeria dominated by stomach infrastructure rather than patriotism?
What is first and foremost, we must define what is stomach infrastructure.
Yes, I'm coming to that. Yeah,
first and foremost, people must understand that stomach infrastructure is when people are more concerned about their stomach, when people are more concerned about this little money they will get to survive today, to buy food. Just is their existential provisions that are temporary. That is what we call stomach infrastructure these days. Infrastructure, are basic amenities for Nigerians, basic amenities, building structures. But this time, we are building it for our stomach. And What is it about? It is because of the hunger that has been caused by the people in government.
Thank you so much. Just while you were speaking now, I was just showing our audience uh, the clear definition of stomach infrastructure. And you can see on the screen why they were sharing what we classify to be stomach infrastructure. Stomach infrastructure, like you said in your definition, is a weapon become as food being given to the masses to induce them, especially during the campaign season. For example, you can see on this picture here, Fayos Ayodele, the former governor of Ekiti State, handing over chicken to an elderly woman in order to induce her to get a vote during the uh, during the election season. Sorry, and also you can see here a bag of rice, beans being bagged with iron fires. Iron fires. That's the clear definition of stomach infrastructure. This is the weapon against the masses, the weapon against the poor, the downtrodden in the society, the weapon against the common man, the widows, the widowers in the society. They use stomach infrastructure to induce them during the electionary campaign season. You are going to be seeing some of this in the next coming days and weeks and months ahead before the general election, where people are being induced by tomatoes, onions, rice, what have you, just for them to be able to get their vote. And also that's why we must salute people like Omoyele Sowore, the the man behind the revolution now and take it back movement, who have always stood on the side of the people in spite of all the pressure, in spite of all what the government have done in order to cadeau him or bring him to their side. He has stood with the masses. He remained very resilient. We salute your courage, Mr. Omoyele Sowore. We also salute our father, a legal luminary, Chief Femi Falana, who has also stood in the side of the truth, who has also, over the decades, been on the side of the masses. These are men of timber and caliber. They refuse to be cajoled by the ruling classes. That's why we must continue to salute their courage. We salute you, sir. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Fred Amoyima Dorige. Just wanted to give our audience more clearer definition of stomach infrastructure and patriotism, what it means to be very patriotic to one cause or to your country. I just cited example of Omoyele Sowore, who has remained a patriotic citizen in spite of all he has been through in Nigeria's political space, in spite of all the arrests, detention. He still remained very adamant and resilient to the cause of a better Nigeria. The same thing with Gani Fawemi. We all know what that man has been through over decades when he was in the forefront of the struggle for human rights in Nigeria. We salute their courage. That is patriotism. Okay, now the issue of stomach infrastructure has become a maniac in our society that people seems not to be able to live without collecting this stomach infrastructure from their oppressors. They do this, I don't know, in my own opinion, deliberately or because they are actually in need of this stomach infrastructure from their oppressors. The election season is about to kick off in Nigeria, I think today or tomorrow. You are going to see more of this. You're going to hear more of stomach infrastructure because this is the only weapon that the oppressed have against the oppressor. They know the oppressor would definitely come around to collect this stomach infrastructure. What Dr. Frederick Omoyele Sowore, what is the root cause of stomach infrastructure in Nigeria?
We all know that the same government they weaponized poverty. APC government, PDP government since 1999. They made the people hungry so that when they throw 1,000 foreign naira at them, they will rush it. They make the people hungry so that they can sell their votes for bread. Not too long ago, we saw some people that were collecting voters' cards from some women and giving them 500 naira. You can imagine that wickedness. They are buying the rights of the people because they first made them hungry. Now they are now buying their rights with piecemeal so that they can continue to vote for the sustenance of oppression. Now, stomach infrastructure is also being used by politicians who have been in the system. Some of them have stolen money from the system, so they are reinvesting the money into the system because they don't have any other job. They are very used to getting free money from government, going around with police escorts. So it's a high life for them. So such people are so desperate to make sure that they return to office. Therefore, they bribe the people to sell their votes. Sometimes they'll call it dividends of democracy. It's an insult to the people. It's an insult to our commonwealth because what they are sharing is our money. They are only recycling the money, like reinvesting it, and they'll gain it back. When these politicians give you 10,000 naira, it is because they expect 10 million naira. So it is wicked, it is inhuman that when election come, people start to brand some bags of rice and gari and all that. They're already doing it. We saw the food beans being branded for Tinubu. We saw them giving recharge card in the market. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. It's an insult to the people. And it also shows the failure of government. If government has not failed, if there is equal distribution of our commonwealth, such things will not be happening. It is because the government has failed. That is why stomach infrastructure has been added into our national lexicon, and it is very pathetic. But Nigerians must also know that some of those things that they are sharing, some of them were products that were supposed to be given to Nigeria freely during the NSAS protests. I beg your pardon, during the COVID-19
COVID-19, yeah.
program season,
Yeah, in
Sorry.
2020.
So some of these food items were stored. We saw that virtually all governors were hoarding these things, were hiding them from the people. Some people went to scramble for these things, and some of them were killed. I know of two people that were killed in Benin City because they went to these warehouses to take what belongs to them. Why do you have to keep all these things? Then they now started to take these goods supplied by the federal government to all these states. They now start to put them to repackage them. Some of them use it as their birthday gifts to people as if they are doing favor. You are in government receiving huge amount of money, but the small gift you're supposed to give to people, you now take the gift, you start buying gift from your own pocket, from the huge salaries that you get. You now take the same gift, rebrand them as if they are giving gift to the people. It's an insult, and it's very ungodly. These people, they carry Bible in one hand, they carry Quran in the other hand, and they are doing what they are doing. So some of these products are even expired. Some of the things they give to people to eat, especially food, they are expired. So if you are very hungry, please, if you refuse their beans, their rice for one day, it will not kill you. You have been eating before politicians started their oppression. So my advice to Nigerians, please don't collect all these things because some of them are poisoned. Some of them are expired rice. We saw some bags of rice that the manufacturing date was December 2022. Manufacturing date. When we're in September. So they fast forwarded, the dating of such bags. because they know that that is the period they want to give it out. So they want to give the impression to people that, oh, it is fresh, but it's not fresh. Some of the food that have gone bad, they have to recycle this food. Some of the rice went bad, they have to wash them and give to people to eat poison. The worst thing about it is that what they give to the people, to the Nigerian masses, they don't give it to their children. They don't give it to their children. It is poisoned food. So we need to tell Nigerians, please don't collect all these things. They are poisoned food. And some of them are even spiritual items. Some of this food, most of these politicians, they are ritualists. So sometimes they spiritualize these products, they can just spray something on them and you take it and you eat. Anything they tell you is what you do. They now start to control the people's brain mentality because of all these things. Why do you think that many Nigerians don't stand up to protest for their rights? The reason is because they have eaten some stomach infrastructure that were poison. So they don't put their brain for bottle, they can't cock the brain because of what they don't chop. And that is why people are now weak to talk. Because that is the intention of the spirituality behind the so-called stomach infrastructure. But it is our expectation that this time around, Nigerians will wake up towards the 2023 election, because this is the time to separate stomach infrastructure from patriotism. Patriotism is simply love for country. If we love our country, if we resist this so-called stomach infrastructure, if we vote for our conscience, we shall have the leader that will lift up, that will lift us, I beg your pardon, that will lift us from poverty, from insecurity. By then, what we'll gain will be more than this temporary infrastructure, stomach infrastructure. So if they are giving you rice of 1,500 naira, once you vote a good leader, you will eat rice yafu without ending. If you vote a good leader, you will enjoy security constantly, electricity constantly, good infrastructure constantly. Because the leader that gives, or the politician that gives you food or all those their poison food to eat, what they are doing is they are investing. They take your vote with those dirty food, and they will go there to steal more. So the more they give to you, the more you receive there, the more they will steal from you and make you poorer.
Thank you so much. I have to cut in there. Thank you so much.
Thank
We
you.
still have more time to address that topic. Yeah, while you were just addressing the issue, the other panelist was just trying to log in, but I think she's having technical difficulties, and she tried to call me on the WhatsApp call. Anyway, the program must continue. You are here, and the program must continue. Ayos, the former governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose, actually made a pledge during the primary season of their party ticket that if elected, he will create a ministry for stomach infrastructure. How belittled do you think that is to Nigerian by a sitting governor who was running to become the president of Nigeria to create an office called the Ministry for Stomach Infrastructure?
You know, some of all these people that are just they find their way into office by chance and by desperation. Some of them, they don't have ideas. They don't have ideas. They lack ideas, so they just talk commonsensically, and what they just do is just talk. They just want to make headlines. What is Ministry for Stomach Infrastructure? What the people need is employment. When people are gainfully employed and they are generating their own infrastructure, stomach infrastructure for them domestically, that is what Nigerians need. For example, if every state government begin to tell their people that, look, every local government chairman, you must have a huge farm, manage a very huge farm. Then every councillor in every ward, you must manage a huge farm. By the time we have farms everywhere producing food anyhow, Nigerians will begin to enjoy life yanfu. What we need is that we need supply of food to be higher than the demand. We need surplus. It is only when we have surplus that we think of exportation. How can you be exporting when your people are hungry? We should not be exporting when we are hungry. So what we need is surplus food. We need more production. More of production. If your area is good for cassava, flood the place with cassava. Look at Nigeria. Look at the bushes. The bushes are everywhere. You go to the place is forested, and that is why you can see that terrorists are hiding inside these forests because the government is not making use of it. By the time you turn all those forests to agricultural places for agricultural productions, you will find out that those terrorists will have no hiding place. Imagine turning the whole of Sambisa forest, for example, into a tomato farm in the north, or you are planting yams there. We have the natural resources, and Nigeria is a country where if you plant something in the north, if it does not grow, plant it in the south, it will grow. We are that blessed. So let Nigerian leaders begin to turn the forest into farms so that there'll be mass production. And some of this beef that we talk about, beef coming from the north, we can also breed beef in any part of Nigeria. Breed your own beef. Have piggeries everywhere. Have fish ponds, using modern technology. If your area is good for fruits, plant fruits. If it's good for pineapples, plant your pineapples. Then have some companies, some industries inside the farms. So, for example, if you are planting tomatoes, you can also have tomato paste making machine in that farm. You'll be creating a lot of employment. So by doing that, you'll be creating employment and you'll be creating food excess for the people. What we need now is food excess in Nigeria. Excess of food is what we need. Excess food, that is what we need. Because if people eat enough, they will not have surplus to export. So what we need is agricultural revolution in Nigeria, not creating a ministry. We already have a Minister of Agriculture. The Minister of Agriculture has to do more, and the National Assembly has to create a law that makes it compulsory for every local government area within the 774 local government area to have their own farms, high-tech farms, not just farms where people use cutlasses and hoes to work.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Patriotism versus stomach infrastructure. Which way Nigeria? The stomach infrastructure has been a weapon that the political elites have constantly used to victimize their fellow citizens. Patriotism, those who remain steadfast in the cause of what they believe in, who are loyal to their country before their stomach. That is where people like Omoyele Sowore, the owner of Sahara Reporter, organizer of Revolution Now and Take It Back Nigeria, that is where they come in. Femi Falana and a host of others. We also know about our late father, Chief Gani Fawemi of blessed memory. Those were people who were very patriotic to the cause, who were patriotic to Nigeria as a nation. My next question to you, why do people like Omoyele Sowore, Femi Falana, and a host of others align themselves to the cause and choose to be patriotic rather than aligning with those who believe in stomach infrastructure?
We have many patriotic Nigerians. Apart from the names that you have mentioned, we have many patriotic Nigerians, and it's an ideology. It's self-discipline. When somebody is disciplined, you are not desperate to acquire. Nigerian politicians, they want to get all they can and can all they get. So once you are contented with what you have, you will not be desperate for getting things done. The names you mentioned are human rights activists. Now, it is different, and for you to be an activist, you have to have you must have the love for country. And I believe that is why you are mentioning their names. So the point is that all of us must be empowered by the system so that we can become even more patriotic, like these activists that you have mentioned. When people are poor, it's very easy to buy their conscience. Some people are dying of hunger. You just give them 2,000 naira. That particular moment, you are their God. They are ready to curse their father because of that. So for patriotism to be improved in Nigeria, the people must have a sense of belonging. They must have the feeling of belonging to Nigeria. And how can they have a feeling of belonging when they don't have basic amenities? How can they have a feeling of belonging or patriotism when they are hungry and poor, when they cannot afford steady electricity? So it is the poverty that is causing the lack of patriotism for country. And that is why today you hear about agitation for Yoruba nation, Biafra and all that. Because people are feeling marginalized. They are feeling that they are not part of the Commonwealth. And that is what the government must look at, especially in 2023. The president that we are going to have must focus on production, must focus on security and other basic amenities such as health, education, and electricity. These basic amenities, they are our rights. It is our right to be protected by government because it is there in the Nigerian constitution that the primary aim of government is the provision of welfare and security. Welfare is stomach infrastructure and security. So that is what the government need to do. Nigerians need welfare. So how do you create welfare? We are not saying that government should be giving people money on the street, but we are saying that the government must provide the enabling environment. Investment in agriculture, investment in electricity, because with stable electricity, you will boost the economy because more people are producing. People that are sewing clothes, fashion designer, they are making their clothes without interruption. Even vulcanizers, they use electricity. They are working without interruption. All of these things, the big companies that are producing things, many of them are using diesel to run their generators. It should not be like that. Because when they use diesel, the cost of the items becomes more expensive. But once the government is providing stable electricity, for example, you find that production will be boosted in the country. Buhari and Osinbajo, General Buhari, promised us during their 2015 campaign that they are going to provide 20,000 megawatts of electricity to Nigerians latest by December 2020. By the end, we're approaching the end of 2022. So when they make promises to the people and they don't keep it, it is the responsibility of the people to hold them accountable. And this is the time for Nigerians to say never again. Somebody cannot promise you electricity 2-3 years on, the person has not done anything, then the person is not coming or it's not supporting another person to continue in office, and you vote for that kind of political lineage. No. So that is what Nigerians must begin to understand. Those politicians that promised you what they promised, they are coming again. So this is the time for reckoning. Are you going to jettison the 7 years of suffering, hardship that they meted on the people? Or you want to listen to their usual stories and promises again for a renewed slavery? I believe that the answer should be no. So that is what we must tell Nigerians, that look, our mumu don't do. We've heard their stories and promises before. The political party that could not keep their promises throughout their last stay in office, they cannot keep their promises in the next elections because they have the same ideology, the ideology of deceiving the people. the ideology of promising and not meeting up to their promises. So these are the issues that we must begin to enlighten Nigerians about. So the person that could not give you stable electricity for 8 years cannot produce a person that will give you stable electricity, especially when the person is producing was also part of their campaign team 8 years ago. So these are the issues that Nigerians must begin to realize.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We cannot conclude the issue of patriotism without also mentioning a Nigerian, a former governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, is a very patriotic Nigerian. If everybody knows about his history, as a former governor, when you leave office, you are entitled to two houses in anywhere within Nigeria, 3 vehicles every 2 years, and also a monument as a form of pension that you get from the state coffer. But this man, Peter Obi, refused all the 3 different items that I have mentioned. The monthly monument, which is the pension, 2 houses anywhere in Nigeria, 3 vehicles. He refused them. That is a sign of patriotism as well. We cannot end this show without also saying a kudos to this man, Peter Obi. We salute you, sir, for all that you've done for the people of Anambra State and all that God will also use you to do in the future. We salute you for your patriotism to Nigerians and Nigeria, your fatherland. Thank you for your service. So I'm going to go to the next question. How do we address the issue? How do we address the stomach infrastructure syndrome in the Nigeria political space? Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Did you hear my last question?
Yes, I just answered that question, that the government has to provide the environment, the enabling environment for that. There has to be a boost in agriculture. There has to be provision of electricity to boost the economy. So these are the things the government must do. And that is how people will start to begin to have a sense of belonging. And that is which will result in patriotism.
Thank you. Fellow Nigerians, the season of stomach infrastructure is here again. We are advising you to shun stomach infrastructure from your political oppressors and choose the side of patriotism. Remain patriotic to your fatherland. If you want a good country, if you want healthcare, if you want every basic amenities that everyone enjoy in other parts of the Western clime, you must choose to be patriotic. You must shun the issue of stomach infrastructure. You must shun the inducement of food with food, rice, money, 2,000, 3,000, whatever the case may be. You must shun this and stay patriotic to your country. We cannot have a better country if we continue to do the same thing and expect a different result. Dr. Frederick, what is your final advice or your closing remark to our general public?
My closing remark is that patriotism pays long term. Stomach infrastructure is just food for today. When we talk about patriotism and stomach infrastructure at this point, we are saying that on the day of voting, be patriotic than stomach infrastructure. It is difficult to resist money or food when you are poor. But if you collect stomach infrastructure, make sure you put Nigeria above. When you are alone in the polling booth, you will be alone when you are voting. You can collect their money if you cannot resist it. But when you are alone in the polling booth, if you want to vote your conscience, vote for the country, vote patriotically. That is the point we're making here. Thank you.
I thank you, and it's always a pleasure having you on my program. Fellow Nigerians, we have come to the end of today's segment. My advice to you today is shun the stomach infrastructure, shun the inducements of food, materials, whatever the case may be. Remain patriotic to your country so you can have a better society. Until next week, same time, same place, I remain your host, Prince Ewemade Konkon. I say goodbye.